Yo, what is going on guys, Houndish here, and thanks a lot for dropping by today for another Destiny video. And today I'm finally bringing you some gameplay of the Vex Mythoclast exotic primary fusion rifle in PvP. Now this gun is absolutely awesome, and I've been wanting to do this for a couple of weeks now, so it's cool that I've finally had time to do this video. So I'm going to just be generally talking about my experiences with this weapon and kind of the perks and how they make it unique, how they make it play out, particularly in a PvP sense, but a little bit in general as well. So, first of all, if you don't know, which I'm sure a lot of you do, it's a primary fusion rifle that fires in full auto. You can only acquire it by killing Atheon in the Vault of Glass on hard mode. It took me about 30 kills probably to get this gun to drop. Some people get luckier, but for a lot of people, you know, it's fairly similar. They have to grind for it, but that's cool in a way because it does make it quite prestigious, and it's kind of, you know, an epic moment when you get it dropped. So yeah, it's a lot of fun to carry on using the weapon in PvP and things like that. But yeah, I'm going to kind of break down some of the perks and things that make this gun unique. So, firstly, it's an absolute beast. Now, a lot of people obviously already know that. In PvP, in a close to medium range, you know, it's very, very powerful. It does take some kind of skill and some knowledge to wield it. Now, I'm not saying you have to be the best player in the world and kind of justifying it, because, you know, people do say the Mythoclast is OP, but you definitely have to understand kind of the perks, particularly like Zen Moment, and, you know, get a kind of a feel for how that works to use it effectively, because it's a bit strange at first. You know, it's not like firing an auto rifle, and it took me a few matches to kind of get my head around how it works. So, firstly, let's break down kind of the two perks that really make this weapon, you know, even more unique, despite how it already is. So, kind of the first, you know, very important perk to this weapon that complements it a lot is Zen Moment. Now, what this does basically is when you start getting hits on a target, over time it becomes more accurate. Now, what this actually does on the Mythoclast, and you may see it in some of the clips, you know, I'll start taking down their shield, you know, start getting hits on them, and after a couple of hits, drastic kind of damage increase happens, and you really start to notice it's ripping them apart. And it does take kind of a second for that to start happening, but it's very rewarding. So if you start hitting your targets, you can see there, when I first hit him, there was kind of very little accuracy and range, and then after a couple of rounds, it really started to kind of own in on him. And you know, this perk is just absolutely brilliant. It makes the gun so much more powerful, and that's kind of one of the things that took me a while to get my head around. So I was like, when I started hitting people, and especially if I hit them with a little bit poor kind of accuracy, you know, it really wouldn't pay off. But once you start hitting that target, the power just really takes off. So that's a really cool kind of element of the gun, and it definitely kind of contributes to what makes this weapon, you know, so awesome. Now, the other perk that's kind of very important on this weapon is crowd control. Now, what this does is kind of once you've taken down a target, it gives you around about a 15% damage bonus for a couple of seconds after that first target. So if you're multi-killing people, you know, you've got a couple of targets in front of you and to take one down, you've got enough in your clip to just carry on firing straight at the next one, then it will give you a bit of a damage bonus, and it is very noticeable. You know, like one person will go down a little bit quicker than another, and that's kind of a factor of the Mythoclast. Sometimes, you know, the damage rate will be a little bit interchangeable. It doesn't always feel the same. Kind of depends what you've hit before or after, whether it's you've just started hitting them, reloaded, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it makes it a really cool kind of weapon. And I swear to God that sometimes the crowd control perk actually affects when you haven't previously killed an enemy. That's just the way it feels anyway. Like, once you start tuning into someone, you start hitting them, it's a matter of seconds, and then suddenly, you know, they can't react anymore. So if you're playing against a Mythoclast in a close range, or a medium range, should I say, if you're not using shotties or other fusion rifles, yeah, you've got a couple of seconds to really deal with your enemy if that's what you're going up against, because once they start getting that accurized hit on you, they're just going to rip you apart. So either way, those are the two things that make this weapon, you know, so powerful. When they're combined with how unique this weapon is in the first place, being a primary fusion that fires automatically, you know, these perks just make it absolutely brilliant. So it's a very, very cool weapon. Now, visually as well, it's worth talking about this stuff because I'm a bit of a gun geek like that. Visually, the gun is just so cool, and the sound as well, the sound it makes, you can tell that Bungie puts a lot of time into this weapon, and I just think it's, you know, it's an awesome raid exotic weapon to have, you know. And comparing it to the Necrochasm as well that's come in Crota's End, and I'm not strictly saying the Necrochasm isn't good, or, you know, if you've got it there's no reason to enjoy it, because that isn't true, but this weapon just stands out to me so much more. So yeah, it's a very, very cool thing. So to talk about the optional perks on this weapon, on the first row of 3 I've got Smart Drift Control. This is just giving me that kind of accuracy that I need. Now I would recommend in PvP definitely using Smart Drift Control to keep the accuracy nice and strong. If you can hit your targets well, combining that with the other perks is going to be, you know, a real decent advantage. And then in the second row of 3 kind of optional perks, I've got the Send It perk, which is going to increase your accuracy and range as well. So it keeps that range nice and strong. And again, the stability isn't affected. You can opt to kind of increase the magazine size, which is perhaps better for PvE, but for PvP I would definitely recommend focusing on stability, because combined with that perks, like I said, it's just absolutely brilliant. But anyway guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this gameplay and my kind of overall impressions of the Mythoclast. It's a great weapon. Definitely, if you pick it up, absolutely awesome thing to use. So there you go anyway. If you have enjoyed this video, please drop me a like and a comment with your thoughts on this weapon, or if you want to pick this up. Anything like that is really cool. And consider subscribing as well for a lot more Destiny content. But for now, you guys take it easy and I will see you very soon. Peace out and goodbye.